Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining me here at BBRC Britain and English. Thanks for joining me. Today, for the benefit of some of you international visitors, and perhaps some people from abroad who perhaps like to visit England at some point in the future when the corona pandemic recedes, I'd like to talk to you about perhaps another big, well-known subject in Britain, and it's the royal family. Now, very sadly, most of you may have heard that the Queen, as of yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the night before, is no longer monarch in the island of Barbados. So we're very sorry to hear that. Now, whatever you think of the rest of the members of the royal family, I think you will agree the Queen has had an exemplary record over the years since, 1953. In fact, her father died in 1952, so she was more or less queen then, but it was 1953 when the coronation took place. She's had a very tough time, as you may well all agree, with all the ramifications of, Prince Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family, leaving their duties to help the Queen and to serve this country. They've gone to, I believe they're in America now, I think they were in Canada before, much to most of the general public's disgust. Very disappointed in the situation. And then there's Prince Andrew with his links to Jeffrey Epstein in America, and all the ramifications of that still ongoing and likely to end up in court. So a very traumatic time for the Queen, especially at her age and how she served the country and the Commonwealth so well. A very respectable lady, whatever you may think of some of the younger royals. And it's a very upsetting time for her, perhaps, that she's no longer the monarch in Barbados. And sadly, over the years, that is not the only place where this has happened. It's also happened over the years since the 1960s or 70s in Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Dominica. Fiji became a republic in 1987. But Barbados, on the plus side, will be still part of the Commonwealth. So it's the family of nations. So we do care for the Queen. We do pray for the Queen, and we do hope that she's all right, and that she's had a few ups and downs this year, and she's not been able to attend some of the recent events, and she couldn't attend the COP conference. I don't think she attended the Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph, and she didn't go to the Festival of Remembrance on the Saturday. Anybody wants to know more about that, do look online. The Royal British Legion, and it's all linked to the Poppy Appeal and raising money for the veterans, past and present, and those still are suffering to this day, and also maintaining the war graves, etc., of those who died in previous wars. Well, I'd just like to say, those of you who want to come to England, there's an awful lot of events on in normal times when the pandemic allows, such as the trooping of the colour, changing of the guard, and things like that. And of course, normally the Queen does do various visits all around the country. And I'm sure you'll all be wishing with me that she has a speedy recovery, where she hasn't been that well lately, and that now she's finding herself on her own after the 73 years marriage to Prince Philip. But she will be back to normal duties as soon as possible. But we thank God for the time she had with Philip, perhaps in isolation, whereas she was able to spend quite a bit of time with him earlier this year until his death last spring. Well, also, I'd like to just say that it does appear that over the years, and I'm sure the older generations, in fact, they do say they're very upset about perhaps some of the young people's views on this country, and it does have an impact on the future in terms of not having so much respect for their elders. Some of the young people, whether the older people do want the traditions to be kept alive, such as the royal family. We've lost a lot of industry in this country, from shipbuilding to certainly automotive, more or less gone from this country. There's a few companies left, but most of it that is left is now owned by foreign companies. And some people say, well, what's happening? The Chinese taking over. And of course, the Americans are very powerful, and other countries. So we do, and of course, we do want to consider the environment and buy more local and grow more local, which is a big issue in the last 12, 18 months to mention, especially with David Attenborough and the environmental concerns and climate change and the freak weather we're having here, but also, like I say, growing in our own gardens, perhaps not buying from where certainly supermarkets do tend to travel around all over the country with goods than processing plants, etc., which is more fuel, more carbon, and also, of course, you've got the problem of buying everything from China, where, of course, it has to travel all across here. And the same with if you're buying a foreign car. I mean, you can certainly buy cars here. And of course, now things are moving towards electric technology and all these other things. So, so it's all part of moving forward, but also trying to think, well, where's our position in the world? Are we going to be able to make things? Do we always have to buy Chinese? And the power of China and other countries has been mentioned a lot over the years. Certainly the COP26 as well. But we do think about all these things, and the fact that there's so much outside influences in this country now, and there are people who still respect this country. They love to come and visit. They love our traditions. And I know that some Americans and Canadians do like to come and visit and see some of these traditions as well, and make sure they're kept alive. So perhaps the young people in this country need to appreciate it a bit more and perhaps play their role and make sure they do respect the elders as well, and of course all what those people gave for this country, and of course keeping the country united. And I know a lot of people have been very upset about the amount of divisions being caused, perhaps including by the thing about some of the Scottish agenda, shall we say, and a few others, and you know, perhaps keeping some of the history alive and remembering what's happening rather than trying to destroy things, but making sure that we do respect each other and respect our past, and perhaps what we're doing now, as well as helping other countries, and what we do to try and be united with other people, as well as remembering our past and things we cannot change. So we should more or less look forward, and a lot of people complain that the young people don't have a clue about the past. Well, hopefully they will look at the positives of the past and not try and destroy the past. And we know we have to remember, commemorate, and forgive and forget. And of course, our country is built on our faith in Christ as well, Christianity. Loving, godly faith, and certainly a very strong faith of Her Majesty the Queen as well, being a Christian, and how she's been so encouraging and shown such high moral values over the last, well, certainly over the last nearly 70 years, but certainly it's longer than that since she's been known by some of the older generation, which goes since she's what now, getting on. She's about 95 now. She's done very well. So we do thank you. We thank God for her. We thank you. We thank those that come and support some of the events here. And I do hope that you will come again at some point. Anybody who's been before. Those who've not had a chance to come, well, hopefully, spirits up. You'll be able to come after the pandemic. And we had a lot going on the last few years. Quite a lot of bad news. Quite a lot of traumas, tragedies, and losses. So we consider those who've lost family members as well. And just hope that no more bad news comes, because it's certainly the wrong time to go become a republic, because Queen, you'd say, well, why don't they wait for a good few years now, or for a few years until the time comes when there'll be more chance to debate those sort of things. But actually now is the wrong time. But sadly, Barbados has gone that way, so not a lot we can do now. And Prince Charles was out there to do a speech, but I think he could have been a bit more positive, actually. But there we are. Some people say woke generation. Some people say cultural. I don't know. They're always on about culture and cultural wars, which is a bad thing, which mainly young people get accused of going into, where things they don't know anything about, and perhaps need to think about what we're going to be in 50 years' time, perhaps, in our position in the world, and where is it? Where are we going to be? And banking disappearing, retail, well. But the only thing we got left, than manufacturing, well, not so much of it. But we certainly had a lot of it before, which maybe young people don't know much about all the companies we had here and all manufacturing and exports. Anyway, so that's just something else which we need to pick up on, and perhaps producing a bit more technology here. We've seen the demise of some of the Japanese companies and the rise of China. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this session, and at some point I may well do a video a little bit more about the Commonwealth, but we'll We'll maybe do a session about that. But at the moment, we'll leave it there. And I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.